Good morning. So this morning we're going to be testing out the new JUVIA'S place. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly. I'm not sure how to say it. We're going to go ahead and just get on with this foundation review. And so I'm going to go ahead and just do a foundation review for you like I normally do. It's going to be an all-day wear test with check-ins. So I got the color 650, which is Alexandria. I actually went on to their website to find the correct color. They have so many different colors with this foundation. I think it was 42 different options, which is what was on Ulta's website. So it is very difficult to get your color correct if you're not sure what you're using. I don't have Ulta next to me, so I have to normally order online. So I just went into their website. They had a foundation matching area on their website. So I just put in my Fenty color and it told me Alexandria was my match. And for the most part, it is. So let's go ahead and get on with the foundation. I have all my moisturizers on. They've been on for an hour, and I do have a sunblock on, the Coola Sport SPF that's been on for over an hour as well. I've got the Photo Finish spray from Smashbox on my face as well, and now I'm going to go ahead and put a primer on, and it's just going to be the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Primer, and I'm just going to put it in my T-zone because that's where I normally get a lot of oils that build up on my face. The rest of my face is usually pretty good, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that here, just a pea-size amount. So let's go ahead and start putting this on my face now that I have got the foundation primers and all that on my face. So I'll go ahead and do a sponge on this side and then a brush on this side so you can see what I'm doing. It's going to be a damp Real Techniques, and I'm also going to be using my Luxie 732 airbrush foundation brush that I got from my Boxy Charm not too long ago. Alright, so this foundation looks like this, and I'm sure y'all have already seen it. I've found that this foundation is something that you do not need to use a ton of, especially since I've been wearing it for a while and I've seen other people actually put it on. So I know that it's not something that you need to wear a ton of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with just a tiny little pea size here on my little makeup pad. That is the tiniest little pea size that I'm going to start off with. There, so you know how much I've got there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll do the brush on this side. I'll do the brush first. So I'm just going to take the tiniest bit there on my brush, and I'm going to start right in the center of my face and just move outwards. So as you can see, it actually blends really quickly. Not a lot of effort for this foundation. It doesn't seem to dry too quickly, so you have enough time to move it around before it starts, you know, breaking up if you continue to play with it on your face, which is nice because it is kind of a thicker foundation, so you kind of figure that it's going to do that. It is a matte finish, but it's not like overly matte, so it's not like an uncomfortable matte. If you're somebody that doesn't really like matte foundations as much, it's not like an uncomfortable matte that you can't wear all day. But that's what it looks like on that side. So I did have two little dots here from an acne flare-up that I had, and it kind of covered it up, and you can see it definitely took away the redness that I have on my face that's just always there. So it is canceling out any discoloration that I have on my face that I don't want, and it sits pretty nicely in the pores here with the brush, and on the forehead it's not really clinging to any of my, you know, deep forehead lines there, so it's doing pretty well as far as that goes. So we're gonna go ahead and go on the other side with the wet beauty sponge. I'm just going to take my finger here and take the rest of this foundation off this board and just kind of place it here, and then I'll blend it out with my sponge. Alright, and as you can see with the sponge, it definitely shears it out a little bit more, and I feel like it's more blotchy with the sponge. As you can see, it like clings to different areas on my face here. Let me get a little bit closer. So you can see it kind of smoothed out really nicely with the brush on this side, but this side I'm getting some clinging here where I have slightly drier skin here. So that's something to be aware of, and I noticed that every time I used a sponge with this that it did that. So I'm just going to take like the tiniest amount on my brush just off of the lid here to kind of smooth that out. See if I can get that to match the rest of my skin here. So it was really easy to smooth that out with just a brush, just to buff it back in just a little bit more foundation, and it really did clear up that patchiness that I had going on with the sponge. I'm not too sure if maybe the water from the sponge is actually interacting with the foundation in a weird way on my skin to where it's doing some weird stuff, but every time I've used this foundation with the sponge, it's done that. The good thing about it is once it's dried out a little bit more on your face and settled a little bit on your face, you can then take the sponge and go through and just take off any excess foundation that you have, because it can get extremely cakey if you put too much. But with that being said, this foundation does build really, really well on itself. It may not be as full coverage as you may have wanted it to be, but for me, it's perfectly full coverage for my skin type and what I'm looking for in a foundation. It does what I want it to do. So it dries down pretty quickly. It's not super tacky. It's never been super tacky on me. Here's what it looks like with all the foundation on. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the rest of my makeup on. I will be setting it a little bit with some setting powder, and I'll just be using the translucent Bye Bye Pores setting powder. It's not going to be a huge amount of setting powder that I'm going to be using just right here in my T-zone like normal, because my T-zone tends to get very, very oily throughout the day. But the rest of it seems to be it's slightly tacky, but not too tacky, and I don't know if that could just be from all of the creams that I put on beforehand. All right, I'll be back to show you what it looks like with makeup on, and then we'll do the all day wear test. All right, so here's what it's looking like with makeup on top of it. It does really well with putting on powder makeup on top of it. I do have a little bit of separation here in the center of my face, right here above my cheeks. My face doesn't like to hold foundation right there. So I did end up using the Nubian Corals palette on my eyes today. I ended up using some Cover FX for contour and blush and a little bit of the highlights, and then I used the Lash Princess for mascara. I do not have falsies on. I used a little bit of Kat Von D, I'm just putting this back, a little bit of the Kat Von D eyeliner for a cat eye in brown, and then I've used a lipstick from a nude lipstick from Finding Freddy, and it's just this color here, really, really nude, with a little bit of a liner from Essence in the color Satin Mauve 06. So that's what I use on my face. I also used the Desert Rose blush from Note, which is a really, really pretty blush. I think it suits a lot of different looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and go about my day. I have to film a video with my husband for our other channel. I'll put that up here if you guys are interested. And then I'll do some check-ins throughout the day to show you what this foundation actually does on my face. This is the all-nighter that I did spray my face with afterwards. It is about 8:30 in the morning right now. There we go. And I'll say that we finished putting on the foundation about 8 o'clock this morning. I just forgot to show you the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and go about my day, and I'll be back in a little bit to show you what everything looks like as it kind of heats up on my face and starts doing what foundations do throughout the day. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, guys, so this is our 5-hour check-in. It is 1:10 in the afternoon. You can see I am starting to get a little oily in my T-zone. Very normal for me. My T-zone is crazy oily, so that happens all the time. So far, so good. It's not breaking up like it normally does on my face. So I don't know what's going on today. I've worn it a few times and I have gotten some breaking up at about this time, but so far it seems to be doing a lot better than normal. So I've been asked to do a blotting test with my foundation reviews. So I just got a clean tissue paper here. I'm gonna go ahead and just blot my forehead here. I'm just basically pressing, and then my nose where I would get oily. I'm not trying to remove any of the foundation, I'm just blotting. So as you can see, it's not as transfer proof as most people would like, but it did just take off the oils, and it did take off just a little bit of the color of the foundation off my face. It still looks pretty good within the mirror. This foundation kind of makes my pores look a little bit bigger than I would like. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer here. That way I can show you. So there's my forehead there. So far it seems to be doing really well on my forehead. It's not gathering in those really pronounced lines that I have on my forehead there. It's doing really well here on my face where it's holding up and not really fading away at 5 hours. But if I get closer, there we go. You can see how it kind of sits weirdly in my pores. So it kind of makes my pores look bigger than I would like them to look. And I don't know how to remedy that because I've tried to do a few different things with this foundation. There you go, get in focus. But it just makes my pores look a little bit bigger than I would like. So here we are at the 5 hour mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and go and get lunch for me and my husband. I'll come back at another 5 hours, show you what it looks like and how it held up for the day. Let me back up a little bit because that's super abrasive and close. But so far so good. I don't mind it. You'd have to get really close like I did just now so you can see how, you know, it looks in the pores. But I get really close to myself all the time. I get really close in my own personal space. So I see things that other people may not see. So if I went to my husband right now and said, what do you think of this foundation? He would say, it looks great. I don't see any problems. But for me, I see like different things. But if you are a good distance, you know, normal distance that you are from people and talking and stuff like that, it doesn't look bad. And it's doing much better than it has in the last previous tests that I've had with this foundation, not on camera. So I'll be back in another 5 or 6 hours to show you what it looks like at the end of the day, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye. All right, so I am back. It is now 7 o'clock in the evening. If you're gonna focus, there we go. And this is what the foundation, hi. And this is what the foundation looks like. So I am definitely oily, which is pretty normal. It's always normal for me to be oily. Let me go ahead and blot with the clean side of the tissue so you can see that it's clean there. So I'm just gonna blot there so you can see that there may be a little bit of transfer. And there's just a little bit of transfer there. Not a ton of transfer, but definitely some transfer. So let me look at this here. So I'm seeing some stuff that I don't really like, and it's normal because I've already been wearing this foundation for over 2 weeks now. So it's cleaned to dry spots under my eyes, and I'll get closer so you can see that. There's definitely foundation here and here, and it's pulling up in my nose in a weird way, like it like gets right in my pores so you can see the foundation kind of in there. I feel like it may have rubbed off in the middle of my skin here and then my T-zone area, which is normal for most foundations for me, except for a couple of them that will last all day. So I don't expect a lot from foundations. I normally expect them to kind of fade away in my T-zone there. It did really well in the forehead area. It didn't really gather in those lines that I have there, and it didn't gather here in the lines that I have on the sides of my face here. It does cling to dry spots, so let me get close so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. All right, let me get down here. There we go. Get as close as I can. Let me get as close as I can. So there we go. So you see how it's clinging right there, and then in my nose, it's kind of clinging in my pores in my nose there. Let me see if it'll focus again. There we go. So you can see it kind of pulling up in those areas right there. And it's definitely faded around here, faded here, and here. And it did fade a little here, but it still covered up those marks right there. Well enough for me not to be too concerned about it. And then here's the forehead area. So it does gather right here. There's foundation gathered right here. And I did have some glasses on earlier, and then it's not bad in the forehead at all. So I'm not worried about the forehead whatsoever. So it started doing the pooling in my pores at about 6 hours. About an hour or so after I came for my first checkup, I started seeing it started to fade away in certain areas of my face, which was normal, was exactly what I expected since I've been wearing it for a while. It's not a bad foundation. It's $20 for 1 fluid ounce, which isn't bad for a higher end foundation when you think about it. It doesn't last as long as I would like it to last my face, about 6 hours, but right now my face doesn't look bad, so I'm not like, it's not horrible, but it's not like 100% the way it was this morning when I first started. It did fade away a little bit. So would I recommend this? I would give this, out of a 5-star rating, I would give this probably a 3.5 to a 4-star rating. So it's not a bad rating for me, which is basically what is on the website. I don't hate this foundation. I will continue to wear it. I was speaking to my sister-in-law and she had asked me what I thought about it, and she had said maybe I should give it a try during the winter. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep it and try it out during the winter, because in the winter months my face is a little bit different. The summer months I do have a lot of oils that come through all day long, which is why I normally wear a dewier foundation during the summer months. I know it sounds weird, but it definitely works for me. So I will keep this and try it out this winter and see how it works on my winter face. But as far as it goes, I do like this foundation. I wouldn't say it's a no-go, but you did see the video, so you see how it reacted on my face. If you have similar issues like I do, you may get the same reaction. It may work better for you, or it may be worse. So that's why I do these videos, so you can make the judgment of whether or not you want to try out this foundation and spend your hard-earned money on it. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I will continue to wear it as much as I can, so if anything changes, I'll put it down in the description as things happen, but I have been wearing it for a good 2 weeks now, so I don't think that there's going to be much difference in my opinion on it. Alright, you guys have a good afternoon, and I will talk to you later. Bye!